Welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to give my review on the Nikon Z6 II, which I'm currently recording on right now. I've had it since it launched, basically, and I've kind of put off this review mainly because I wanted to put it through its paces. I wanted to try different things, test different things out, and make sure that I had a good understanding of what was going on, what was happening before I just came out and gave you all my thoughts. So in this review, I'm going to give you my pros, my cons, different improvements that I think can either happen on the next iteration. You could kind of say it might be a wish list, but it's just, there's really just things that could happen on the next one, since this is now the second iteration of the Z6. And then who is this for? Is this a camera for you, or maybe is this something that you don't need to worry about or anything like that? But without further ado, let's just go on ahead and jump into it. Alright, so for the pros of this camera, we're going to start off with the picture quality. The picture quality of this camera is absolutely amazing. It is a 24.5 megapixel camera, but it's a Nikon. Nikon does not have any issues whatsoever when it comes to photo capabilities. In my personal opinion, they're the best, but they're obviously definitely the top three. Is what they're known for, different things like that. But the picture quality is great between JPEGs, RAW. When you put them into whatever editing software that you want to use, whether it's Adobe, whether it's Apple's software, all that kind of stuff. They all the clarity, the dynamic range, everything in this camera is absolutely amazing. I'm telling you right now, you're not gonna have to worry about picture quality whatsoever. A surprising pro is the video quality. As we all know, Nikon, even though they, in my opinion, they're number one when it comes to picture quality, they are nowhere near number one when it comes to video quality. Sony and Canon have completely, beaten them in that aspect for years. And with this camera right here, I feel like Nikon has definitely closed that gap. The video quality of the Z6 II, the Z6 was good video quality also, don't get me wrong with that. But the Z6 II is taking it a little bit further. It's basically because of the improved autofocus, which is across the board, good for both video and photo. The mere fact that you're up there with the 4K capabilities. You can unlock 4K 60 on this camera. You've got HD, you got 1080, 120 as well. So you've got the specs are there to do everything that you need to do to capture whatever it is that you're trying to capture, whatever your vision, whatever it is. So since we're already talking about the autofocus is absolutely improved between the area autofocus, the eye autofocus. I know when Nikon first came out with with the Z system, the running joke was that it wasn't an eye autofocus, even though they didn't have eye autofocus at the beginning. But then when they got eye autofocus, the running joke was that it wasn't eye autofocus, it was more like eyelash autofocus. The box kept hovering over people's eyelashes, or focusing on their eyelashes instead of actually focusing on the eye. That's been vastly improved. There's even been multiple updates since the cameras came out, and they had one huge update that actually improved the autofocus even more. So it can still be better, don't get me wrong. There are still times when it hunts, mainly, not necessarily, it doesn't happen too much with subject. It's more like if you're doing like object photography, so you've got and don't kill me because I can't think of the phrase right now, so I'm just thinking of object photography. But if you've got a vase somewhere close and you've got like a plant in the background, you got something else in the background, it takes a hard time to try and figure out what it is that you actually want it to focus on, but then it'll grab it, it'll capture it, things like that. So that happens from time to time, but all in all, it is a pro. The autofocus has improved, tremendously. And then another pro is the usability, the user-friendly aspect of the camera. The menu system for Nikon is very, very good. It's very well put together. All the controls are in, decent spots to where you can, when you got the camera up to your eye and everything, you know where to put your thumb, where different buttons are, and different things like that. Now, obviously that comes with, getting more comfortable with the camera, using the camera more and more, realizing where that stuff is. But it's all in good places, the ergonomics of this camera. All the buttons are in good spots where it doesn't seem like you're having to reach for something, or something's just in an awkward spot where you're never going to utilize it, different things like that. Like, everything is in a great spot to where your thumb, your index finger, your main, the main fingers that you use for all your controls and everything, it's all in a great spot. The ergonomics on this camera is absolutely amazing. Now, there are a few cons for the camera. Not really a lot. The biggest con, in my opinion, is the mere fact that even though you do have improved video capabilities, you got to pay extra to actually unlock those full video capabilities, which is just like the 4K 60 and all that. You either got to send your camera in so you can get the whole, Blackmagic RAW, all that kind of stuff, so you can do everything internally, or you can do like I did, and you can purchase an external monitor and you can unlock, the 4K 60 through the external monitor, not through the camera. So to me, that's like I've got to spend more money, and I can't remember how much it is to send it back for them. So you got to purchase it first, then send it in for them to do the whole update, all that kind of stuff. I think it's like $200. I think, don't quote me on that. I know it's cheaper to do that than to buy an external monitor, but it's just the mere fact that you do have to send your camera in, so you're without your camera for however long it takes them to do it and ship it back to you. So I just took the route of just buying an external monitor, so I could unlock all that and do what I need to do. So no matter which route you go, you do have to spend more money on top of whatever it is that you spent for the camera, moving forward. So that's a little bit of a con. We all wish that when we buy something, and out of the box, if it says it can do XYZ, we want it to do XYZ right out the box. We don't want to have to pay more, attach this, and do all that kind of stuff. So it can be a little bit of a hassle, but you don't have to do it once. You don't have to pay for an external monitor once. You only have to pay to send it in once. But it's just a little extra thing that you have to do. Another con and I don't know if it might just be me personally. I don't know if it's a Nikon Z6 II thing or if it's a Nikon thing, no idea. So I'm just gonna preface this by saying this could just be my camera. But I personally have had issues with the USB-C charging, mainly because sometimes it'll charge the camera, sometimes it won't. I'll have it plugged in, but the light won't come on, or on the screen it won't, signify that it's actually charging through the USB-C cable and all that. So I don't know if it's the mere fact that I'm not using a 100% approved Nikon, USB-C cable. Like, I'm just using a third-party cable that I picked up from like Best Buy, mainly because I wanted a longer cable. I think this is like a 6-foot cable, maybe. But I just wanted a longer cable, so when I'm setting up in different places and different things like that, I don't have to worry about, that limiting where I can put the camera. So that could be it, but I'm not entirely sure. It does work. It just doesn't work 100% of the time when I have it plugged in, charged in, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's not a major con. It's just a minor con, because for me personally, like if I go out and do something, I still kind of have to make sure that I have, the battery charger with me, so I can at least plug that in if I need to charge the battery. Because I'm just not comfortable enough relying solely on the fact that, hey, I've got the USB-C cord and I can charge the camera through that. But other than that, those two things really are the main cons, I guess. There's some nitpicky things, like I wish the battery was a little bit longer when you're doing video. The battery lasts, when you're taking photos, the battery lasts completely fine. I've gotten over 600 shots on this thing before realizing that I need to charge the battery. When it comes to recording, I do a lot of my recording in 4K, so obviously 4K recording takes a lot more out of the battery. So it's not really a con, it's just my preference of what I like to record at, which is what's draining the battery from time to time. But like, I do also use the camera as my webcam, when I'm doing, we're kind of moving out of the pandemic, but at the height of the pandemic, when everybody's doing, Zoom calls and Skypes and Google Meets and all that kind of stuff. This camera was my dedicated webcam camera. So doing that kind of drained the battery a little bit, but I was getting a decent 45 minutes to an hour, I want to say, before like I noticed like the camera was dying off or anything like that. And I'm not saying it died after 45 minutes to an hour. I'm just saying after 45 minutes to an hour of continuous, viewing, with the video recorder and everything, that's when I was noticing that. But really that's it. I'm gonna be honest, there's not many cons with this camera at all. Now, some improvements that I would like to see in the next iteration, mainly because I kind of wish they were in this one, but it's fine that they're not. But moving forward, I would hope that they do, the same type of card format. We got the improvement at the Z6 one, it was single card slot, and everybody was tearing Nikon apart for that. Then with the Z6 II, we've got dual card slot, but it's, one card slots for, XQD / CF Express, and then the other card slot is just, a regular SD card. I hope for the Z6 III or whatever, next iteration after this comes, I hope that the dual card slots are both the same type. They're both, CF Express, XQD, style card slots. They are saying that that's what the Z9 is going to be, through all the rumor sites and everything like that. And I'm pretty sure it probably is going to be, because it's a lot easier having the same type of card format when you're doing, redundancy, or when you're doing backups and stuff like that, because that, hey, both these cards are the same in the terms of read speed, write speed, all that kind of stuff. And when you have two different formats, depending on how you use that secondary slot, it can basically counteract itself. So I'm just hoping for, in the next iteration, 2 CF Express card slots, and they'll be good to go with that. Also, you can never go wrong with a better battery. Like, any battery that can last longer, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but the battery that we currently have now. But if they can find a way to make it last even longer, cool. If they can't, alright. Like, we're fine with the battery that we've got right now. To be on, I know some people are probably gonna say that, hey, we kind of wish there was a flip out screen and all that. I'm not too worrisome about that, mainly because I have an external monitor now. So would it be nice? Yeah. I don't necessarily know if this will be like a vlogging style camera, because even though it is good, a decent size and everything, there is a little weight to it. And it's, most vlogging cameras nowadays they're a little bit smaller than what this current camera is. It can be a vlogging camera, but if you're trying not to bring attention to yourself while you're doing vlogging, while you're out and about and around and stuff like that, you probably want something a little bit smaller. But I mean, me personally, if they add a flip out screen, great. If they keep the tilt screen, that's fine. I'm gonna leave that up to you. That doesn't really bother me too much. Okay, now who is this camera for? Once again, this is just my opinion, but personally I think that this camera is for any pro that wants a second body. So maybe you're still on the fence. I don't know why, but maybe you're still on the fence of, well, I don't want to move over to mirrorless yet, I want to stick with DSLR. Look, DSLR is being phased out. It's a lot easier, a lot better to go ahead and move over now than to try and wait, and you're just, falling behind the curve and everything like that. Mirrorless it's the future, it's the way. But if you are that person, you still got a D850, which is a great camera, or a D7500 or a D750, whatever. And you want to ease yourself into it without completely getting rid of your body, but having a second body, then go on ahead and, get this. You can use it as, a behind the scenes photo or behind the scenes camera. So you can set it up, just have a recording while you're out doing different photo shoots, things like that. You can have a secondary camera if you want your DSLR as your main photo camera, and this is your dedicated video camera. That works too. So any professional that wants this, and possibly you're just waiting for the Z9. So if you want to get this now just to get your feet wet, in the mirrorless world, and then, you sell your DSLR equipment, all that kind of stuff for the Z9, or however you plan on getting the Z9 or anything like that, that works too. And then at that point, then you have 2 mirrorless bodies. This will still be your backup camera. So yeah, that works for any professional. The second thing is any content creator that needs an all-in-one camera. So you need a camera that can take amazing photos. You need a camera that's going to give you tremendous video quality, something that is going to last. It's going to keep you up current with all the different specs, all the different specifications, everything that you need. You need it all in one. This is it. You're fine. It's not overly expensive. It's only a little over $2,000. Actually, I think it is $2,000 right now for the camera, but Nikon runs a lot of sales, you know, local camera shops, Best Buy, Amazon, different places like that. They run different sales, so I'm pretty sure you can find it for a little bit cheaper than $2,000. You can get it used, and it's definitely cheaper than $2,000 if you get it, you know, used and things like that. So it's definitely not beginner camera pricing, but it is an adequate enough pricing to where it's like, all right, cool, I'm making an investment in this, and it's going to do everything that I need for it to do, you know, for however long you need that to happen. And then finally, this camera is for any beginner or amateur self-taught photographer, videographer, whoever. But if you're just starting off, you've been doing this for a couple years, and I know I said just starting off, but you've been doing this for a little while and you're ready to take that next step, but you're not ready to necessarily jump into, you know, those high-priced professional cameras, even though they're not out for Nikon yet. But those high-priced professional cameras that cost like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, you know, this is a good step for you. This is a way for you to, all right, cool. Like for me, I started out with the D3000 from Nikon. You know, I took that through its paces for literally 7 years, I want to say, 6-7 years. I was gonna do the whole, you know, buy the D850 and all that kind of stuff, but then mirrorless was coming out, so I was like, let me just wait, and then, you know, just moving to mirrorless and all that kind of stuff. And this was the purchase that I made. You know, this was the next step, and it's a way for you to show that, all right, everything that I learned with this camera, I can apply it here, because you still need to know the basics of photography, videography, all that kind of stuff. But you'll see an improvement in your work, because now you're dealing with something that is, you know, far more technical, far more sophisticated than whatever beginner camera that you have. Now, if you're doing, this is a step up. Now, if you're doing just a lateral movement, then you're just doing a lateral movement. But if you're actually taking a step up from a beginner style camera or an entry level camera into this, you'll see an improvement in your work, because you're taking what you learned from that entry level camera and putting it into this camera. And it's just a way to show progression, show advancement, all that kind of stuff. So if you fall into that category, then cool. And then lastly, if you just want to buy it. Like if you don't fit any of those categories, but you're just like, I like this camera, I like what I see, I like the, not necessarily commercials, but you know, you like what you saw in this video, or you like what you've been seeing on the internet, maybe what you've been reading, different things like that, or what you just saw in the store, then by all means buy it. Like, I'm not gonna tell you, oh no, don't buy it or anything like that, or, you know, put your money somewhere else. No, if that's what you want, get it. And once you get it, I promise you, you'll love it, you'll enjoy it. It's gonna be a great investment, great buy. So that's been my review of the Nikon Z6 II. If you enjoyed it, it would mean a lot to me if you would like this video. If you aren't a subscriber, please subscribe, hit the button down below. I'll be making more videos, more reviews, more storytelling type stuff. That's more, you know, this channel is mainly about storytelling and the equipment that I use for storytelling. So yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.